Hi, my name is Kaushal.
And my name is Akash.
Unfortunately, our other partner, Shyam, could not make it. First, we will begin by showing our video.
Hey you. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking to you. Are you struggling to find a job? Well, don't go anywhere. This video is just for you. Here we have David, your everyday average Joe. David. Just like you, he is seeking a job. To start, David is making his resume. He starts off with stating his career objective. He then moves on to list his education, and under that, he notes his hobbies and interests. Following that, David addresses his professional skills. Lastly, he includes any additional information he has to offer. If you've had job experience, unlike David, don't be afraid to add that as well. Notice how David keeps his resume clean and concise. He also makes sure to tailor a document to the job he's applying for. For example, David is applying for a graphic design job, so he is including things like freelancing for architecture companies and working with others. Remember, don't forget to proofread. Now that David has his resume ready, it is time to search for a job. There are many ways to search for a job: newspapers, job fairs, job boards, company websites, networking, and social media. David is currently looking at a job board called LinkedIn. He creates a profile on the site and starts his search by narrowing down the field to his interests. Once he has selected a few, he starts filling out the applications and attaching his resume to each. Once he's done, he submits them, along with his cover letter. The cover letter basically describes to your potential employer why they should hire you. It should demonstrate your interest in the company, draw attention to your resume, and essentially motivate the employer to talk with you. While David's waiting for any updates, he reaches out to his friends and old colleagues to see if they can help him out. He also uses other social media platforms such as Facebook to reach out to companies. Alright, David acquired a job interview. He knows that first impressions are everything when it comes to getting a job, so he freshes up and puts on his best formal clothes. It depends on the job. Some demand full business attire, while others are more casual. For this job, David decided on a regular black dress shirt and khakis. It's game time. He remembers to be respectful but also flexible, so if his interviewer is funny, he would try to crack jokes. But if the interviewer is serious, he would stick to facts. David also asks a lot of questions about the company in order to prevent a one-sided conversation. This makes him seem more interested in working there. Remember, projecting confidence and charisma is also important. At the end of the interview, don't forget to thank the interviewer for their time. Now David just has to wait for the moment of truth and hope for the best. Never give up. Keep trying, and if you follow these guidelines, you'll get a job in no time.
Now that you have seen the video, we will talk about the process of creating it. The first step to producing the final product was to brainstorm and plan out our course of action. We began by asking ourselves, what are the most important pieces of information we have to offer? We would prioritize these pieces of information as our video was limited to 3 minutes, so we needed to fill this time with the most relevant and valuable information.
Next, we needed visuals to correspond to our words. Creating a realistic video is key to help prepare our viewers for the real world, so we modeled our scenes after the real world. Finally, we wrote out the script, which was concise and engaging.
We chose to write the script in separate chunks, each pertaining to a specific section of what we wanted the video to incorporate, such as where to find jobs, how to act in an interview, etc. We recorded the script multiple times over to reach the 3-minute mark so we could easily match it to the video in the future. Here you can see the separate chunks of our script, each color-coded to represent a different part of the video.
The bulk of our creative process was focused on the task of creating, modeling, and animating our characters and other scenery. From the backbone of David himself to the placement and orientation of the camera required immense diligence.
Now came time to render the multiple scenes of our video. We faced several challenges here, mainly concerning the vast amount of time it required to physically render the video. After this extensive task, we clipped the previous script recording and the video together, adding transitions and additional visual aids to fashion a final seamless video. This is a depiction of what it looks like to render a video in Blender.
As we mentioned to David in the video, proof viewing in this case, is just as crucial as composing the video itself. As a team, we watched our video over and over again, each time assessing our work, scouring for imperfections and taking note of these locations for later revision.
Whether it be major opportunities for adjustment or minor errors, identifying where we could enhance our video was vital. For each of these points, we plotted out the best course of action to resolve any of the issues that presented themselves in the first copy of the video.
We revisited the points we identified and then revised and rendered the video anew, replacing the old clips with new and improved versions.
The first software we used was Blender, which supports modeling, rigging, and rendering. It is also used by professionals in the real world, and we chose this software because we had prior experience with it.
The second software we used was iMovie. We used it to splice video clips, insert audio, and insert transitions as well.
We had several alternatives for software and hardware we could have used, such as the Unreal Engine, Unity, and Adobe Premiere. However, we chose not to use these applications due to the fact that we had prior experience with Blender and that it had a user-friendly interface. We also didn't use Adobe Premiere because it was oriented towards higher-end editing.
We had to make efficient use of our resources, so we used ourselves as reference frames for what accurate human movement would look like on video, along with other online guidelines.
We used Blender's native animation editor, known as the dope sheet, to animate our characters. We animated certain keyframes, and Blender filled in the rest for us, creating one fluid animation.
By combining these, we were able to bring our characters' actions to life. The scenes were much more realistic with the animations we imagined and subsequently created, making the video that much more appealing. From David and his interviewer conversing to David typing on his laptop, the animations were a huge point. These three models are under the CC0 license, which means that they are released to the public domain and that we are free to use them as we wish without attribution.
This is a copy of the CC0 license. As you can see, the person who created these models has waived their right to the work, which allows us to use it freely.
That is all that we have for you today. Thank you for your time, and sorry for the inconvenience of being forced to record a video instead of being with you judges today. Thank you.